seconds. We should be getting into it. Both teams are ready. My finger's on the button. Let's go.
Hey, so Uber, I'm a dumb American, and I don't know how to pronounce things. So one, it's Eichenwald, which that one I think I can get going. How am I supposed to be pronouncing Bonjour's name?
Oh, I think you're saying the J a bit too sharply. I think it's Bonjour, but you're asking an Australian who butchers the bloody English accent.
Yeah, but you're not American. See, we're the dumb ones. You're a little bit classier, not as classy as the English. You know,
the thing is, even Eichenwald is quite difficult to say because there's an E on the end, which is old-fashioned German, which you wouldn't normally see anymore. It depends who you ask as well. You can say Eichenwalde or Eichen.
Oh, yeah?
It's a soft CH. Yeah, Eichen. That's how Internet Hulk says it, Eichenwalde. So, but you can also say Eichen, CH, it's a soft sound. I mean, Germans in chat, if you even are there, give me a shout out. There's a couple of different ways to say it, but yeah, bonjour. Bonjour. I guess that's what people are getting at, but really, of all things to nitpick, I'm sure we can find more things to talk about. I mean, come on, I missed a graviton surge reflect. Let's not get caught up on Bonjour, boys.
I'm working on it, and I'm pretty sure it's Bongiorno.
Bongiorno.
I got DC'd.
Howdy, partner. Okay, so Hex DC'd, so no worries.
I'm getting back in. I'm good.
Alright, Hex just started spectating. Good opening. Anyway, let's talk about the teams here as well. We do have 76ers on both sides. Too easy with the Roadhog, which is great on Sanctum. Obviously, hooks are good. Heiko just experienced that for himself, but luckily managed to receive enough healing to keep himself up on his feet. And Super Pluke working around the corner as much as he possibly can here. Doesn't want to get caught out, but that won't be the case now, as that point has been unlocked and the teams are posturing to take it. It'll be FaZe dipping their toe in the water first.
And exactly as we predicted, 76 is on both sides. 76, of course, just very good now. Does a lot more damage per bullet, and it's always been a map that you could run him on rather easily. Neither team yet to take the point now as Superpluck takes out his opposing number in Factor Fiction. That is nice for them. Too Easy does get a kill, so it is evened up 5v5. Still just posturing on the point. No one with a definitive advantage just yet.
Not quite yet. I mean, Super Pluke, they're going to see him go in towards the more enclosed area, off towards the side. They can isolate Too Easy here. It's going to be a Nanoboost on towards the right heart, though. And hey, he doesn't have to run any great distance, so who cares about lack of speed here? Super Pluke has all the damage he needs, and 4 kills at the very least will be enough to secure this point. It was FaZe, the first team to move on there, but it was a good response from Bonjour to take it under their control. 10% to kick things off.
We're entering the ultimate phase of the game now, as there's going to be 4 up, almost 5 up for the team in control right now, which is Bonjour. Going to be hard for FaZe to find an entry to bring this back, although they're going to have ultimates of their own. They're going to rotate around stairs, which can be a little bit dangerous if you're going against the Roadhog. They know they are not. They are going to get grabbed on the stairs. Where is the follow-through here? It is just the tank so far. Hardest will get a kill onto Raucus. The follow Earthshatter from Factor Fiction. Everyone's spread out a little bit. A beautiful whole hog keeps his team at least alive momentarily as Superclock looks to clean up, but it is not enough for FaZe as they are getting eliminated one by one. They used a lot there and did not get a ton out of it. Actually, FaZe is the one who saved most of their ultimates. My bad. So, yeah, okay, I guess. What do you think we're going to see next fight?
Well, I mean, the attack fight is going to be fairly crucial here as well. But again, if you're not using a nano boost, you need to flank a little bit more with that. You need to be a little bit more creative with your positioning with ults when you don't have that extra damage or, you know, mobility to punch to back it up here. So that's a possibility for Nico. He would have wanted to use this side that is being taken over by FaZe right now, but they definitely have their stamp on this bit of real estate here, and Super Pluke's shield's going to get very low very soon. He's going to have to back away. Good sleep dart. Fact Fiction was already caught out. He's going to go over the edge there. Far too far ahead of his team, if I'm honest with you, and now Zom's going to come in with the nano goggles.
Goggles, we're going with that.
Oh, who cares, man? Who really cares?
Okay with that. So they are going to get some kills onto the point, still at about 80-90%. They need to bring this back. They have to find something here. Is Forsaken and Too Easy all alone on the point. Forsaken almost goes off the edge, but gets that sound barrier down to keep him in Factor Fiction alive. Still not enough. It has been all Bonjour this entire stage, and just not being able to bring anything together. Coordination looking a little bit off for FaZe, and they go down 99%, turning 100-0 on Sanctum.
I'm a little confused because they're not running a heavy tank composition. Why don't FaZe go to the tried and true? Zen, Lucio, dive comp with Genji. We'll have to see if they change now. Have a feeling they will, and that is what they're going to be doing. I think that is the right decision.
Right. into the second round. Look, while we're interacting with chat as well, people are upset that I said it was Eichenwalde. That's actually how Internet Hulk calls it, who is German. He's from Neuss. And if you're actually from Cologne, you pronounce the CH more like a SH sometimes. It's just an accent, a dialect thing. Plus, the Coach dialect is messed up enough as it is. So, side note for you guys as well, don't get upset, Germans. I know it's not High German. It's just the way different people pronounce it. Let's jump in. Let's do it. I'm going to get it out of the way. But we're actually going to see Too Easy Tracer here. So I was hoping to see this. Forsaken up on that Zenyatta. It's going to be Fact Fiction on the Winston.
Well, they are going to jump in. The dive comp is in full effect, but they do disengage from it really nicely. Factor Fiction thinks better of it and, you know, will retreat there. So a really nice response from Bonjour so far to not play into this dive composition, playing their own style. And Heiko taking on Shadowburn early is going to hamstring this face swap.
Yeah, good start for Too Easy there as well. Finds Pifu. He does need to look for these supports here. But Hardest gets on towards Too Easy. The flash came in pretty trumps for him now. And he'll be set up on that point. Bit of a boot back there to Heiko, but no edge really. Maybe Forsaken was hoping to be given some room there by Raucus with that boot, but it's not going to be enough there. And again, a very good start here on this map for the crew from Bonjour. This is excellent from them, especially given what FaZe were able to do to Misfits on this particular map. This is very impressive from the French squad.
They saw Factor Fiction jumping over the top trying to get some damage on, and they just left him be. They just chose not to engage on that double comp. Too Easy goes down immediately to Hardest. They can't lose DPS as early as they have these last two fights and expect to win.
Well, Fact Fiction finds Hardest, and that's a good start there as well. But Raucus is going to fall down. Zom's going very, very low as Nico's just going to unload. Not even a tactical advisor, by the way. He's just got the space created by Super Clue to do as much damage as he pleases, but as much space as he wants to have it there. So, comfortable for him. Heiko now has a Graviton Surge coming into the next fight here, so this should work reasonably well.
A lot's going to depend on what Factor Fiction's able to do. The last two times he has jumped in and then simply walked back again. So that's not exactly what you want as far as your initiation goes. That's not what you want out of this comp. They're not setting up their dive. They're not picking a target. They're just running this composition and playing it standard. It's not working out well at all. Factor Fiction jumps in, getting focused pretty strong. He's got Primal Rage, though, to keep himself alive. This is going a little bit better, but Hardest taking on Ruckus hurts them. Nico goes to town. Both DPS pick up a pair of kills for Bonjour, and that is it. That is going to be the fight. Man, FaZe is back against it. I just feel their initiations have been lackluster at best.
No, and it was a strong grandma glasses coming out from Nico there as well. I'm not going to lie. He was able to get a couple kills off the back of that one as well. I mean, the fact of the matter is, as Soldier 76, you do want to be able to keep your enemy at arm's length to a degree, and his tanks are allowing him to do that. Now, you can see, Fact Fiction jumping on top of Hardest. That's what you want to do to that back line. You need to deal with it, and the next man on the chopping block is going to be Nico, but it's a sound barrier in effect here for Bonjour. They're still set up on this point, but this will be the first touch, the first taste of the point that FaZe have already had so far, but Nico's able to flip the fight back a little bit. Fact Fiction has done very well to chase him out of the picture, though. He's gotten onto both of the damage dealers in this fight, and he's managed to be a big part of getting rid of them. And that allows Too Easy as well, just to run circles around the enemy. Super Pleak falls down, point back towards FaZe, but it couldn't have been any later.
And that's the key to the composition, though, is getting Too Easy and Shadowburn to get those early kills. When you do that, it opens things up for Factor Fiction. He doesn't have to worry too much about the opposing teams and DPS. He can chase and finish out kills. That was what they were missing early in the first two fights. Shadowburn and Too Easy were the first two dead in a lot of situations. You cannot have that. They did remedy it. Shadowburn now on the Soldier 76 for the first time today.
Push going to come in here, and Shadowburn's used his ult, so it's not going to be available to him right now. Graviton in there, pretty comfortable. No ults required really outside of that one especially, and it's good to get a good fight win with just the one of them now. Hardest will eventually fall there, and Shadowburn comfortably building up to his next geriatric spectacles.
Did you just write all these down during break? Is that what you were doing?
No, I'm stretching my thesaurus here, but...
I liked gray bands because like Ray-Bans, but they're both gray hairs. That was nice. Good. Back visor is also one we've seen a little bit, but that's a different game. So I'm sticking with grandma goggles for now. Right now they do find Factor Fiction all alone up here, but that was a bait. He has Primal Rage up. He gets slept and woken immediately, so not the best coordination, but Nico takes down the flying monkey. He will go down. Super Flock does go down in turn as well, so both teams down a tank. Hardest going down next to Shadowburn is going to really hurt them. They should be retreating right now as Nico still presses the issue, though. Takes down Zoms.
They're gutting this out. Is Bonjour right now? They're at a disadvantage, but trying to make it work. Yeah, and Nico is going to have the combo there as well. We must not be named. And it's going to be pretty comfortable now as well. Shadowburn just peeked out. It was actually Helix Rocket that managed to claim him in the end, but that'll do the job. And now a later sound barrier in the fight needs to be answered by Raucus, but that's a pretty nasty use of the Bionic Grenade on top of the FaZe crew here. Needs to be responded to quickly, but they're losing players on this point. A couple now are coming in to reinforce, but they're going to be trickling through, and that's not an ideal scenario whatsoever. It's 93%, but this point will flip back, and we're into overtime. Forsaken, yep, he's going to go zoom out and try and get onto the point and keep this one going. He does trigger a bit of overtime here, but the rest of his team are being zoned out. Superfluke standing at the gate, trying to shut the door or hold it, in fact, and that's really the overtime ticking down here. Too easy, probably doesn't even have the dash charges by now to get to the point. And the second round as well, going to Bonjour.
It looked pretty good. Slasher, what did you see there? Was it anything beyond just the DPS dying too early? When they played a little better, they got the stage back? Am I missing something there?
I mean, now FaZe should be a little bit concerned because double hit scan is really strong. And while one may not be able to shut down Genji, Soldier with the new buffs, combined with McCree, can make it very difficult, and that's why Shadowburn is on Soldier. It did work out after they switched. We'll have to see if it will. They probably will have to go back to Ana Lucio, yeah, just because the Ana Soldier combo is quite good now.
It's working out well. And you know what? That Ana Soldier combo, we can call it what we want. If Doa can call Zarya ult Toberstein, we can call it Grey Bands all the way to the bank, mate. I tell you what, he is breaking definitions for ultimates.
Well, Toberstein's just great. I mean, that's what she says, right? So I'm all on board with Toberstein. The casters do get to define what people call things, so that is our biggest benefit in this line of work. They are going to rotate up on top here, so different angles of attack for both teams, not doing the Braveheart rush at each other over the top. They will just rotate down onto this point and start staring at each other, trying to get some poke damage. Both Reinhardts going ham on each other right now. Who wins this might actually determine who wins the rest of the fight.
And Fact Fiction with a Bionic Grenade on him as well. Heiko's just going to nudge his way through the shield and get the extra damage with the Particle Cannon. Comfortable enough here to start things off. Hardest went down to too easy, so the McCree battle does go in favor of FaZe, but unfortunately, that's the only fight they're really winning at this stage. All being forced away. A cheeky sleep dart off the backside on towards Superfluke won't be followed up as FaZe need to regroup here.
They do good of getting 4 out of there alive. It is hard to retreat against this kind of composition. Lucky that Hardest was down, though, because retreating against Soldier and McCree is a daunting task, to say the least. And now Nico's got the high ground. They're going to have a hard time getting him off of that high ground. They don't have anyone to contest it up there. They are going to try to trickle on to this point here. They use a couple of ultimates to try to defend it. Shadowburn taking out his counter number, but an Earthshatter will go down for Factor Fiction. He is isolated with the Ana ultimate, trying to clean it up. It's very scrappy, about 4v4 down here. That is a nice couple kills back and forth. Still no idea how this fight's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, Earthshatter there only on towards Heiko and a sound barrier to follow it up there. That's not the best value for Fact Fiction from his ultimate. Now he's completely surrounded. It's a cheeky flash just lobbed over the top lazily by Hardest, and Heiko is able to finish off those kills as well. Still no traction being made here by FaZe. Both Reinhardts received nano boosts in that fight. Neither of them really got anything from it, and it was Fact Fiction's ult that ultimately went to waste, only getting on towards one player who got healed up and shielded up. And our Superfluke going to be the one to receive as well. Not really the welcoming party you want if you're FaZe, and here a Deadeye. Hardest trying to channel that one from the middle. It's going to zone out here quite comfortably and give the extra percentage over to Bonjour.
My ultimate is ready.
It does seem like FaZe has struggled throughout the day on taking high ground away and back. They're not prioritizing it, and there's a lot of times where they're just, the other team's chilling on high ground and they don't necessarily have an answer for it. Their only answer has been hooks from Roadhog or something along those lines. It hasn't been great. The Graviton's going to come in without a shield in front of it. They do get a lot of damage. No absolute cleanup, though, as Too Easy's able to take down Nico early. That is a huge pick. That is the reason they will get this point and bring it back. They were about to be decimated. A beautiful grab, but a clutch kill from Too Easy.
Yeah, that was big, and the fact that Fact Fiction wasn't there to shield his 4 other teammates that were Graviton together could have been nasty, but it seems as if perhaps that Bonjour's focus was split because there wasn't the follow-up damage. Perhaps the fact that it was Fact Fiction or walking so far into a point that dragged them away. Could have been a big opportunity just to close the game out there for Bonjour, but no, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. It's 98% to 17. One more push will do it, but Bonjour don't have an ultimate bank to sit on here, and the Graviton is part of FaZe's arsenal.
Yeah, they are going to boost Factor Fiction so he can clean up the rest of that Graviton. He does solo Earthshatter a couple. Actually, that is a double Earthshatter. Beautiful work from Factor Fiction, who had a little rough start to this stage. And even being not in the Graviton with his team last time, I thought was a bit of a mistake. It looked like he had been freelancing for most of this stage. He does bring it back with his team there, get some nice kills. They're going to have to win 2 to 3 more fights if they want to bring this stage back and not drop the first map to Bonjour.
Bonjour. Again, needs to go for this. Look, I mean, tough to hit a decent Earth Shatter here as well when the defending team have high ground. And that's a nasty biotic grenade as well. Hardest went so low there. It's going to have to be a biotic grenade, a friendly one at least this time from Bonjour. They have the point. Eventually, Flash coming out, though, but the Earth Shatter a little bit too late. Fact Fiction had his shield up just in time, enough to defend his team. Deadeye in from too easy. He's going to find Hardest before he goes down. And another good fight so far here for FaZe. Bored, caught on his own. I mean, you can't be bored when he's 6 feet under. He's definitely going to get the smackdown from Shadowburn, and 60% now as well. FaZe are rolling. They've got ultimates in the bank, whereas Hardest with the Deadeye, that's not really convincing for me on a retake attempt.
Yeah, they have been able to control this high ground as well. Shadowburn will be up here with Raucus and the rest of his team. So high ground control on this map in particular is very difficult to wrestle back. If you want to, you can rotate onto the ramp, take the stairs up, and then fight up here. That looks like exactly what Bonjour wants to do.
Now, again, Fact Fiction trying to give a little bit of ground here as well, and the fact of the matter is you have to almost imply you have more ultimates than you do with your Bonjour right now, because you want to force back, you want to take some positioning and just, you know, generate some threat maybe on the implication of ults being there, but there's going to be the sound barrier in. But Nico going to come in with the nanoglasses here, shield in the way, flash on towards it, but still, Hardest gets a massive shutdown. The 3 kills from him, that Deadeye actually came to fruition in the end, and that is exactly what Bonjour needed. However, they need to make sure there's not going to be any retake attempt here. The deaths happen so close together, though, that there's no chance. No, Bonjour take it 3-0. A little bit harder towards the end, but overall, I kind of feel like they were fairly dominant over this King of the Hill map.
Some signs of life towards the end, but not much. Slasher, what did you see there? You're a FaZe fanboy, to be sure. It's on record. Well, what was going wrong?
I mean, Bonjour made a statement here that double hit scan can be just as powerful as triple tank and shutting down dive comp. So the first round was not really a good comp coming out from FaZe. Second round, they tried to run dive comp, and double hit scan really did shut him down until the very end. Finally, FaZe adapted in the third round, but really Hardest just got the better of too easy, and Nico has more practice time on Soldier than Shadowburn has, because Shadowburn has been running Reaper, Genji, maybe Sombras, and Tracer lately. Very good start from Bonjour coming out on King of the Hill. That's what I said. They needed to take map 1. They did it in definitive fashion. I have a feeling we'll be seeing a continuance of double hit scan throughout the rest of this match.
It's interesting, though, that McCree isn't being completely forced into obscurity now, with Soldier 76 being a little bit stronger. I guess clearly the players, while Soldier 76 has the bigger ultimate wombo potential, Deadeye is still very, very good conditionally, and the CC from your flashbang is definitely nothing to be sniffed at here. So, although one might say that McCree, struggling, I guess, in a 1v1 against Soldier 76 at their optimal ranges, still seen him pop up here, and it was good. I think he was impactful, especially, of course, Hardest managing to close things out there with the big Deadeye was a big part of that.
You don't often see big Deadeyes nowadays, too, but I think they will be coming back into Premonition, mostly if you are running that double hit scan, and even if you start peppering in a Roadhog, too. We talked all day yesterday about how quickly shields were going down and how focused that a lot of Reinhardts have been. Taking out the Reinhardt is a great first pick, regardless of the composition behind him, and so getting those shields down is going to open things up for Deadeye. He had a couple really nice ones to close out matches here. I have bad news for ZP is that when I disconnected, he became lobby lead, so I can remake lobby. He's got his hands full, I know, with production and everything else. We'll see what we want to do next.
Okay.
It is actually a big decision now for FaZe and where they want to go next. They haven't played a lot of Eichenwald. They lost Kings Row before. If they do Ilios, they might have the same problems as they do on Nepal. My gut tells me they might want to go to Hollywood just so they can get a map win in. They might try to leave Hollywood later and try their luck again on Ilios, or even try to go to Eichenwald. I don't think they're going to try Kings Row. Yes, they do try to go to Hollywood. They want a map win now. If they go down 0-2 and they have Kings Row, Ilios, and Eichenwald left, it's not going to be very good for FaZe. They're probably second-guessing themselves on the other King of the Hill now. So where I thought the FaZe had the advantage going into the series, a 3-0 loss in the first King of the Hill with one more King of the Hill in the pool, a map they lost against Bonjour earlier, a map they don't practice with an Eichenwald, Bonjour definitely has the momentum going in the rest of the series.
Is it as simple to say that, can we really honestly say the Hollywood is going to be a map win for FaZe?
No, but they definitely have the advantage in it. They consider it a home map. There's a map they've practiced and played so many times ever since, even when they were reunited and I was on the team. We like playing Hollywood. They won with me on the team, Mitch. So they could win with me. They could probably do it here. They had some decent success against Misfits, which I would consider a stronger team overall than Bonjour, and they even have deeper hero pools and probably better aim mechanically than Nico and Hardest. But Nico and Hardest playing quite well for them right now. We haven't actually talked about Heiko GMX quite a lot, but he's actually been very solid for his Bonjour team, keeping people alive and some very clutch Zarya bubbles and playing quite well. So I think FaZe definitely has the advantage on Hollywood in terms of their composition. But they definitely need to win. If they lose Hollywood, the series is pretty much over.
So, Slasher, I'm going to ask you to kick the other admins and then leave yourself so that I can get admin back in this lobby, since I'm the only one who's not shirking responsibility.
So I'm just leaving, right?
Well, just kick Nambi and Uber before you leave, and then it should go to me. And I'll invite everyone back.
I'm to kick.
Yeah, remove is the technical term.
Yeah, okay. I'm kicking Uber.
Peace.
Uber's just disgusted. He has no words to say, by the way, towards him getting kicked.
Yeah, kick named. Yeah.
Okay.
And then leave.
Yeah.
All right.
Overwatch lobby is 2016.
Why did it go to too easy now?
We promise for sure demos, replays, scoreboard, lobbies, custom server picking, all coming quite soon. By the time we get to the next decade, it will definitely be in Overwatch.
We did
that esports thing with the league coming for the millions of dollars across the cities and the world and all that.
We did at least have a pause feature, which we've used very well tonight. So that eventually came.
Yes,
there is something.
We have pause. Thank you, Mitch.
But mate, don't you want your Hollywood loot boxes? Don't you want your Reaper highlight intro?
Mm-hmm.
That is personnel intensive. That is the workflow involved in that kind of stuff is fairly considerable. We'll get it.
Yep.
We'll get it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so obviously, guys, if you are wondering, we are waiting on a new lobby to be made. We're going to be back on towards Hollywood in just a second, or at least we're going to start on Hollywood. And yeah, I guess the implication kind of is that if FaZe Clan don't pick up Hollywood, then they're going to be in serious trouble for this series in general, and picking up another map around there. It's quite foggy territory, I guess, with maps like Eichenwald in there. Could be a problem, especially when we don't really have intel on that. We don't really know how much they practiced on that one, if they're going to go for any sort of weird stuff here. But Hollywood, for those of you sort of just joining us now and maybe wanting to see a little bit of Sombra, is a map that we've seen FaZe Clan sort of go for that pick every now and then. I was watching the last game, obviously, while you guys were casting it, and yeah, it's very, very clear to see that Shadowburn wanted to play Sombra just mostly for the ultimate there, obviously, just to set up a good, solid fight there with that EMP. I kind of feel like he's not obviously diving too deep into the possibilities that Sombra maybe can offer, given her kit. But I guess, it's brute force. It's not exactly pretty, but it's effective when you can get that EMP and knock a Reinhardt shield out of the game.
Well, what I have noticed so far, we've only seen a little bit of Sombra in competitive play, and I played her a little bit and been watching some people play in ranked matchmaking. It might be the quickest building ult DPS hero in the game, even with the lowered reduction of ults, because when you hack all of the health packs, you actually get ult charge from all of them very, very quickly. So I don't know if it's just me and what I've been watching, but you might be able to get that ult, which I think is instantly one of the best ults in the game right now. And Shadowburn, I don't necessarily think Shadowburn going Sombra the first time was why they lost on Hollywood in the first take from Misfits. Too Easy got hooked and killed. It's either Roadhog, you get a hook and you kill someone, or you get hooked and you die. That's kind of what the Roadhog meta is right now. So I think that the second time through, they were able to hold Misfits for 2 minutes on Hollywood. I actually am liking the Sombra pick a little bit more. Not as much of a hater since the beginning.
Well, mate, you sold me on Torbjorn last night, so from here on out, anything's possible.
Torb's actually a good pick. I really like the Torb. I like it. Not trolling.
Torb's a thing. Torb's a thing. Just don't play it in my games. That's all I'm asking you. I mean, look, looking at this as well, I mean, we see what NIP can do on this map, and they're probably the only team in the tournament right now that is sort of, to my understanding, running Hanzo effectively on the attack here. we won't see Nico play it because it was always D-Gun on Melty that actually played Hanzo. He's very, very good at that. Unfortunately, not good at enough things, I guess, at that level to really complement Melty ultimately, as he was eventually moved on towards the Zenyatta role and then Mercy, and then God knows what happened there. But I don't think Hardest plays that either, so that's not something that's really available to Bonjour. The same thing could be said of FaZe Clan though there as well. I don't think any of us are really going to be expecting to see Hanzo come out there. But
Shadowburn actually plays Hanzo pretty good.
Well, I mean, I really think it's such a boon to have that in your arsenal on a map like this here, where you can, obviously double down on your pick potential when you've got a Roadhog in the mix here. And I don't know why more teams aren't actually striving to really include that as part of what they bring on this map.
So we have 11 of 12 in lobby. Sorry for the hiccups here as far as technical aspects go. We will be going into Hollywood with FaZe looking to battle back. They're down 1-0 in this lower bracket final. As I mentioned, the loser of this goes home without any prize money. Second place always takes a $2,000. First place will take home the grand prize, which we will still bring you tonight. That is a best of 5 after this set, so plenty of Overwatch action for you here on the EU Alienware Monthly Melee presented by Curse. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let everyone know that this is going on. There is plenty of competitive Overwatch for you, and see if Bonjour can really kind of break out here. It would be a great series for them to beat FaZe Clan in the way they have, and then moving on, if they can just hang a little bit with NIP, which they did earlier today, I think they kind of make a big splash out of the EU scene.
So I actually agree with you, Mitch, and the pick potential of Hanzo is quite large. It just seems like Roadhog is the better option, considering that you don't die and you have a hook on 6-second cooldown every time, where Widow and Hanzo have potential to die much faster. And also with the prevalence of shields in this game, it is quite difficult. It is getting much easier to run them with Widow getting the buff and Hanzo's Scatter Arrow that could just kind of kill things when you can't even see them, which is always a good thing in an FPS game, don't get me wrong. Hanzo does still rely on Zarya because you want the Dragon-Zarya combo. And while I did downplay Zarya a little bit because Zarya has been nerfed on PTR, there has been a buff that most people haven't realized, and that Blizzard did kind of fix the hit registration in the newest update. So from everyone that I've talked to, even though that Zarya got nerfed on PTR, she might have been buffed just from the hit reg getting better. Now she can melt Genjis and other hit scan heroes more than ever before. And doing that, Zarya actually might be more powerful even with the nerfs. I mean,
and on that note, just on that note really quickly, it was the energy generation rate that was nerfed, yes?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that lowers the ult too. Sure. So it takes like 2.5 minutes just to get her ult. But the hit rate being fixed and being better might actually make her more powerful than before, and we still might see Zarya in every single combo from here on out.
Well, you've seen a lot of hit scan and god tier aim players flex onto Zarya and make it their own as well. I mean, there's some players on Liquid who will do the same, and a lot of DPS players will flex onto that Zarya. So definitely a hero that the aim is going to matter still with that primary beam. It's not just chunking all the way with the right click. So far though, it looks like Shadowburn wants to run this Sombra again. It looks like they are queued up to maybe go triple DPS yet again with this dive comp.
Okay, I'm all right with that. Shadowburn again teasing that Sombra on the attacking side there as well. But we actually saw the dive comp come out. Slasher was alluding to it as well there on the first stage in Nepal. Also, Fact-Fiction sort of try and play that Winston there to mixed results, I think it's safe to say. It's a very different map, very different scenario, but at least it's good to know that that's something that, again, is available to a team like FaZe when we know that maybe the Hanzo is not going to be a feature. Again, is that ZP laughing in the background? Is that what I'm hearing?
Whenever he's chuckling, I know that he's up to something devious.
Is he trolling in chat?
He's playing with chat some way along the lines, but he's not been feeling a top notch today, a little bit under the weather. So whatever brings him joy.
Did I go to jail?
Just like in training, visualize, then execute.
Yeah.
Well, that's ZP. At least he's bringing the entertainment value.
Was it network TV jail and not like Oz jail? Because there's a world of difference.
No, it was full on. Like the jail bars were pretty impressive. I got to tell you.
Great. Thank you for the strong jail bars, ZP. I appreciate it.
Well, we
let's
are
go to the
in game.
Side.
Yeah. Dive comp in full effect, triple DPS, but it is not the Sombra on the offense, which Shadowburn was toying with. He is on the Genji, so they're going to try to coordinate this. He does ledge dash all the way up top. Vector Fiction goes in and actually gets Hardest down immediately with the help of his 2 DPS. This dive comp working out amazingly so far.
Yeah, FaZe looking a lot more comfortable on this map now. You can see the entirety of Bonjour just pretty much pushed back in towards the cafe. No presence on the point. They might try and regroup a little bit more, but they've got to go in the next 3 seconds at this stage. With Nico falling down, that's not really going to happen, and that is a very, very fast first point take. And FaZe are wasting no time in setting up some further infrastructure to use this high ground and at least have a prominent position on this second stage of the map. And that's Superfluke getting caught out. He tried to get away, but Zombs found him with a few more shots to the back of the head.
Comp looking beautifully right now as they all take different perspectives and attitudes. Shadowburn's just going to patrol high ground. He is probably the safest of the dive composition heroes as far as how far he can poke. Deflect is a good ability that always lets you out of a situation. You can always dash out of a situation. They're going to answer this with kind of a dive comp of their own as Nico's now on the Genji. Factor Fiction's up there, so it is a Genji Winston versus Genji Winston as they kind of just poke for it. But meanwhile, the card is moving just absolutely uncontested.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, there's been no chance here at all for Bonjour to actually set up, and it's going to be a push forward from Superfluke and Nico here as well. A little bit of a defensive dive attempt, but the Pulse Bomb is going to scuttle that one to the 4 wins. In fact, Fiction also getting on towards board. It's a valiant attempt from Nico in the backline to make something happen. He gets Forsaken and sends one of his own balls back towards him, but this is just a decimation. This
is dirty. Hardest has been alive maybe 10 seconds this entire game. He's been the first to die in both of these last battles. Somehow has 76%. Nico, knowing that the Genji's not working, simply outclassed by Shadowburn's Genji, is just going to switch to a Reaper, which, I mean, they're running one tank. I don't know how effective it's going to be, but I guess try something different.
Well, Superfluke is trying to harass Zombs, but Zombs had the healing down as well, and now he's going to let the ult go. That is disgusting. It's all too easy, and Soldier 76 is all the rage for obvious reasons. If you weren't convinced now, you bloody well should be. 5 minutes 46 on the clock, with one more checkpoint to go. FaZe are back with a vengeance.
You're definitely all soldiers now. They get the kind of crummy spawns here as they do come out. Superfluke is going to die for it as he was the one with the forward spawns. Unfortunate. This has been all FaZe, not even the slightest hint of a defense from Bonjour right now. I mean, there's a surrender joke in there, but I'm not going to make it.
I think we all know it. I tried that once on the cast. I got a bit of backlash there. The French are pretty passionate about these things, so yeah. Especially I'm in the same office as Todd, the StarCraft caster, so I don't get away with that anymore.
Todd.
Yeah, old mate. Yeah, it's good fun. Anyways, fight's going to start here. Sound barrier comes out from both sides here, and P2 manages to avoid the pulse bomb with the extra overshield. In fact, Fiction wants to head up on the high ground here and stay safe, but Transcendence coming over the top means now the ground is a safe haven for FaZe. Plenty of healing coming in with Shadowburn just making it even harder. Keiko gets too easy on the backside, but that's going to be it. And there have been very few moments where Bonjour have actually had any sort of resistance. And with the payload now, we'll be getting in towards that last little courtyard. It's just going to be desperation time for the French squad.
Yeah, that resistance is underground, if anything. Hardest does come back, does take out Zombs very early on, which is a nice boon to this defense, which is finally showing some signs of life. The Graviton's going to come in. They should be able to grab a couple. No, now it's 6v4. This is the first time a fight has gone in their favor. This one will absolutely end up in their favor unless Too Easy has the best Tracer life of his entire existence. He's going to decide to back out there, which is a smart thing. They're going to be on the chase here, where it's a good chase composition. They are able to pick up Forsaken and Too Easy, who are not able to retreat fast enough.
Yeah, and now we'll just see a few blows traded just amongst the doorway here as, well, obviously FaZe need to wait for the reinforcements to come through. And they will, eventually. Forsaken just respawns now, and so does Too Easy. So they're going to be going back, and Too Easy switching off of the 76. Oh, no, sorry. It's Too Easy going to be playing on that McCree. I'm looking at Zombs there. You actually got flashed out earlier by Hardest. So there's going to be McCree versus McCree, something we saw on King of the Hill earlier on, which I thought was an interesting twist. In fact, Vixen does very, very low off his charge in there. PP actually is going to be falling to him now. 2-for-2 trade to start the fight.
Shadowburn does go down after taking down a couple. Nico's going to spin into Zombs' tactical visor. Not enough DPS of that tactical visor to stop the spinning Reaper. They do trade out a lot. Now they are still running one tank for this FaZe composition. The 3 DPS has been slowed down and stopped. It's one of the things that is difficult to do with this composition is regain your momentum once you've taken it away. You really have to start getting a couple kills here or there. Shadowburn's going to take the top ground now that he's on the Reaper, so they have been stopped. What was looking all bad for this Bonjour squad has now turned into a somewhat respectable time.
Yeah, we see good holds on this part of the map primarily, actually, if the attacking team can't find a way safely to get in without taking a lot of damage. Now, Superfluke falls, he's going to get knocked down, but he's not going to actually die. It's going to be, in fact, Fiction who receives an Earth Shatter in response. He still survives somehow, but the sound barrier at the moment is with Bonjour. It's going to help them a lot, keep them alive. Zom's going to come in now with the nano goggles. He hasn't got any kills yet. And it's going to be Nico now trying to respond. Flash comes in as well. Nico finally going down. That payload should actually get going here. Zoms has been able to revive this push push here for FaZe Clan, and Shadowburn never died. He was just flashed or sleeping, I think, as it were. So a good fight over on the payload here. There will be a chance for reinforcements to come, but FaZe are coming back with almost a full squad here.
They are staggering the reinforcements on there. I think they had time to leave one person alive on the payload and stall it out while the rest of them regrouped, and now they're in a little bit of a rough spot. They do get a kill too easy on the offensive Widow. A flash of last December, I want to say, where Widow was ran 100% on the offensive last point. He picks up 2 kills. It is still a beautiful map for her, a beautiful last point for Widow to just absolutely clean up. The sight lines are brutal. It is a nice mop-up hero if you have to switch to it. Too easy, proving why. And yes, that was all FaZe, but at least a little bit of signs of life from Bonjour towards the end of the map.
Yeah, I mean, well, one fight you can normally turn into a bit of a hold there as well. I mean, snowballing is a thing in Overwatch. It definitely does happen. I like the little switch to the Widow from Too Easy there, and he only picked it once the payload was in that last little courtyard, because ultimately Bonjour were going to be streaming into view off from the side. They actually wouldn't have established positions, so they had to pick. Too Easy could just sit and hold an angle and get 2 quick kills like we saw. 76 and McCree, very vulnerable to the sniper. But again, very, very good start, and Bonjour have to be very, very careful now, seeing what FaZe and how comfortable they were on this map so far.
Wasn't thrilled with Bonjour's pick to go dive count themselves during the second point. It seemed like the double hit scan was working so well on King of the Hill, and although they kind of got run over on first point, I would have liked to see them stay consistent on second point, because it really didn't work, and then they lost on all the ult charge. And although that they held third point for a little bit, it really wasn't enough. I think that FaZe still is in the driving seat right now. Zen Ana combo comes out again, which I still am really liking, instead of having Lucio on first point, and it's going to have to do a lot of work for Bonjour to get through on this map.
Well, Shadowburn. Yeah, Shadowburn is on the infiltrator hero, that Sombra, so a lot of it, I think, has been just to get that ultimate going. Slasher did mention that it is one of the fastest charging ultimates, and in this meta, if you can have an ult and the other team doesn't, you can deny all the abilities, which is what her ultimate does, you're probably in a good spot, and they're going to try to use this here, and it's going to be interesting to see if Shadowburn just does the same thing, sits right in the cafe, just charges that ult, not going very deep in the back line, trying to get anything done, hacking packs and taking names. So it has worked out somewhat for them. I think he's becoming a little more comfortable on it. We'll see if that EMP comes into play on first point defense.
And it combines nicely with the 76 on the high ground. Actually, if anyone gets to, over towards the point, Sombra's actually hitting very, very hard, and she's not suffering damage reduction. Oh, Board's going to get hooked in. You're not going to survive that, even with the Zarya shield. Fact Fiction had to back away very quickly there. He almost fell, and actually would have been a very good trade for Bonjour. So decent response to losing Board, but it's not going to be enough to create an opening here in FaZe's defense.
They're just going to heal him back up, and that actually does help his supports as well, as both supports for the defense now at about 50%. They will give up the high ground here, as both Nico and Hardest do take a spot up there. Nico's going to get behind the shield as they stagger both the DPS in here. Now just kind of poking away. This double hit scan doing a lot of work.
So far, not so bad. At least decent position's been taken up by Bonjour here, and Heiko actually gets a little bit of a boost up top side, although it wasn't really going to help him pick up Shadowburn, who's close to that EMP. He's going to want to use it in a moment here, combine it with Fact Fiction's Earth Shadow if that's going to be available, which it should. But Zombs falls first to Super Fluke. Not ideal to have him picked out of your comp here. He's the main damage dealer. Here goes Shadowburn. He's going to be bringing the pain. EMP, Earth Shadow. But it was, yeah, a 3-man Earth Shadow. Super Fluke, I thought he was effective, perhaps not. But still, Forsaken with 2 kills on the pronated targets. Both supports are down here for Bonjour, but still, enough for them to push forward. They've got the big tank line, they've got damage dealers, and Too Easy felt the full brunt of that.
The theory was better than the execution there. That Earthshatter was about a hair away from missing all 3 of them. Just grabbed a couple in the late cone there, but not exactly everything they wanted. And I think now it's kind of that Bonjour knows what they're going to run. They expect the EMP. They look like they even played around it, all very spread out, so they couldn't get a giant Earthshatter off of it. And mostly just being able to play around the expected combination that they saw come in. And again, ZP, I think, made an excellent point the other day. When you EMP a team, this is generally what you see afterwards. They've got 6 ultimates now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You create a reason to save them. I mean, we talk about it the same as, people dying with ultimates. It's not always the worst thing ever. But Echo shielded, coming forward. It's going to be Shadowburn off towards the side, trying to deny as much real estate in the general store as he can. But Zombs, well, he's got the nano boost up on the top side here. He wants to drop down just to make sure he's got a clear line of sight. And yeah, it is going to be the side of Bonjour in complete disarray here. Only 1 kill from that ultimate combination. 3 ultimates being committed to that fight at the very least here. It gets the job done, no doubt about it. But again, we're going to see those ultimates now come back. There's going to be 3 available for Bonjour here. And they can do a lot with them.
Still, though, FaZe did make Bonjour use 3 ultimates, and they got nothing out of it. The Graviton, Deadeye, and Sound Barrier all came down, and there was 0 effect from any of them. So they did burn on half the ultimates from Bonjour. They were at 6, now they're at 3. They did use a couple of their own, but I think they overall have to be pretty happy with that trade as Shadowburn starts off this next fight, taking down Hardest. Too Easy now chimes in. DPS going pretty big for FaZe, as it's a 6v4. We'll wonder if they're going to chase them out here.
Bonjour are trying to circumvent Zoms, I guess, or at least break his line of sight by moving around towards that, you know, the close tunnel side of the general store and get up there. But I think that's a terrible position to play from now. And yeah, Hardest on that Widow, so trying to emulate Too Easy as much as he can. Looking for Zoms here. So now Zoms has to respect this and keep his head down a little bit more. He'll have less opportunities to peek. He won't be able to spray damage. I like this. I talked about this yesterday as well. It's indirect high ground control with sightlines in Widow.
He does try to take a shot onto Shadowburn, but Shadowburn just comes in, takes Nico, gets out of there. He does understand that he is under pressure, does eat a shot, but not a headshot, so he's able to stay alive there, and it looks like Hardest decides not exactly getting what he wants, is going to go right back to spawn.
Yeah, he missed 3 grappling hooks in a row trying to get back to spawn quicker there. I don't know what's going on with him.
That's a tough day.
Either way, McCree coming out now as well. He's got the golden peacemaker here. Let's see if he can make golden opportunities happen for his team. Though flash over the shield. Fact Fiction is going to be stunned up, but doesn't take enough damage to burst him down. Nano Boost now going in towards Nico as well. Attack Visor will follow it up. But Forsaken and Shadowburn have already taken a big chunk out of the side of Bonjour.
Nico down, Hardest down. This is a completely lost fight already for Bonjour, and it's, I always say when you see teams switching up heroes like this, it's worrisome to say the least. It means they're searching for answers. Maybe they'll find the right bubble on the Scantron that they're filling out, but Nico now onto the Genji in response, and I don't know, it has not worked out great for them so far. They're going to switch Heiko onto the Winston. They're prioritizing maybe taking away high ground. They're tired of getting peppered from up high.
Yeah, but the question is, will it really work? Because we've seen Nico on Genji before and try and control this sort of situation. Half his team's still on the low ground, and yeah, Winston Genji isn't always enough to get the job done up on this high ground. We used to see Diva even committed to that same effort. But Zoms, he's going to be pushed down. That's the idea. Deny that ground away, even get the kill. It's even a big bonus there. Now, if Heiko doesn't die here, it's a bonus. Transcendence comes out for only 5 people here. It's going to have to matter big time as Too Easy tries to get in with that Deadeye, but I don't think he'll find too much here. Looking for an opportunity, but disengage was there from Bonjour.
Well, we're getting down to it. Superflock does come in with a late Earthshatter, which is nice. Takes down a couple. They get the most of the kills during that fight. 4 now for this Bonjour team. Only Zoms alive. Not going to be enough to save it. They might have time to come out and contest this second point, though.
Watch the scenery.
At this stage, yeah. If they did that, though, there could be very awkward spawns for them after that point's taken. So I think you got to be very, very careful about this. Yeah, they're going to have a go. Fine. And look, there's a disengage from Bonjour anyway. Big disengage, actually.
Oof.
And they were trying to do a Shadowburn off the backside. So now that Hardest has dealt with that one, this could be pretty scary for FaZe.
That is rough for them. They're going to have to push into his Zom's ultimate. Maybe he can get it, but it is not on the high ground, not going to be as effective. He's going to get jumped on immediately. Jumped on the shield down. Hardest with another Deadeye. This should be a taken point. Once they get all the cleanup in here, they will do that. Another great Deadeye from Hardest. Shadowburn comes in late, but ambitious in his attempts to slow the cart down. 156 left in the time bank. Even if they finish out, they will have a slower time, but FaZe right now just trying to make sure that they do not finish, but Hardest running wild on these late spawns, picks up 2. There is a 3rd kill. Right now, FaZe needs to take a second, stop, and regroup. They cannot keep bleeding.
And we talked about being a McCree specialist here, and Hardest is adding a bit of extra flavor, a bit of special flavor, in fact, to Bonjour's attack right now. And the best McCrees are ones that can be creative with their Deadeye positioning, by the way, because shields are still a thing in Overwatch, although maybe a little bit less common now. You need to work around those and know how to get and circumvent them, but there's Shadowburn, finds Kipu straight away. He's bite a grenade, though, but he still gets 2 more kills. A slither of health. That's going to take the absolute guts out of the attack for Bonjour. It's going to have to be a regroup, and now heading towards sub 1 minute territory. I mean, that light at the end of the tunnel might just be getting further and further away for the French squad.
Well, when their backs were against it on second point, when they needed it through the streets, it was Superflock going crazy with an Earthshatter. They've got that ready too. They've got the ultimates to work with. In fact, they should probably win this fight. Too Easy taking down Hardest still hurts their chances a lot.
Massively so. A lot of the damage being taken out of Bonjour. They're going to back away.
Yeah, smart. Because it is their last push, regardless if they go now or if they go in 10 seconds. So that's smart to disengage, not lose any more, and now they're banking up even more ultimates.
Yeah, they're playing for, I guess, a full hold if it does go to overtime here, because the best they can hope for is probably an overtime completion with this payload. It's quite a long distance it still needs to cover, and they're still going to win 2 fights, maybe even 3 off the back. But Too Easy finds hardest hit again, gets his opposite number. That's huge in the McCree versus McCree battle. If you win that one out, you're going to make life a lot easier for your team. Nico's caught by Fact Fiction, but Superclick was right behind him with the hammer swinging. Again, Too Easy finds Heiko though, so that dive has been nullified, and now the rest of FaZe are going to press forward. It's going to be sub 10 seconds if they're not careful, but good Earthshatter 3 down for Superclick, but Too Easy. The damage reduction there from that Nana ult is going to be helping him out, at least to back away and stay alive. He would like to have Raucus around longer for the healing, but now he's been joined by Zombs as well, and we're in overtime.
Getting pretty scrappy. Shadowburn is in the back lines. He's going to get chased by the Winston, able to get out somehow as Too Easy continues to do damage, takes on the opposing Genji. There is another kill from FaZe, and the Desperation Sound Barrier coming out, but here comes the Dragon Blade looking to seal it for Shadowburn. He finds 1, he finds 2, Too Easy cleaning up as well. This is going to be a full hold from FaZe as they bring it back 1-1.
And pretty convincing, I think it's safe to say, Slasher.
Yep. I mean, this is the map FaZe needed to win. This is kind of FaZe's home map in the map pool besides King of the Hills. So definitely what they needed to do to go, if they had any chance after losing Nepal the way they did, they definitely needed to Hollywood to go the way that it did for them to win the series. You know, if I was Bonjour, I'd probably go to Ilios just on the way that Nepal went, but they might be bringing it to Kings Row next map. It'd definitely be one of the two. I think they should stick to double hit scam, maybe going the dive comp themselves, help them get through second point on Hollywood right there, but they actually had to save a lot of ults, and by the time they saved all those ults, it wasn't enough time to complete the map. I think they should probably stay away from dive comp just because FaZe runs it better. I would go back to double hit scan. They can't run triple tank. This is the way I think they should be playing.
One thing that motivates Too Easy beyond ZP's trash talk is when there's another player who's playing a hero he likes, and he may not necessarily win the overall battle of that. So when he plays Widow back in the day, he would win that Widow 1v1. Maybe he wasn't the best Widow on the field at that day. He wouldn't necessarily go off on the rest of the team, but you could be damn well sure that he was going to kill that Widow. And the same thing happened there when he saw how well Hardest was doing on McCree. He's like, I'm good at McCree too, and he won the McCree versus McCree battle, not necessarily the biggest impact on it elsewhere in the game, but he always turns it up when someone's doing good on a hero that he likes playing. He will pick that hero and win his 1v1 versus that person. It always helps out his team, and I've seen it on his Widow, and I've seen it as McCree time and time again, and he took out Hardest in a couple crucial situations on that last defense.
And I think that actually speaks also to FaZe's ability to be an underdog team that can cause upset results. I'm not saying they're not tier 1. I'm not saying they're not one of the best teams at the moment. I think we can see that there are some flaws there, but even over at E-League as well, what they were able to do throughout the group stages there and get some of those upset wins. To be fair, I could be solo healing a team, and if I get killed by a McCree, I am switching to McCree, and I'm finding that bloke. I don't care how long it takes me, and I'm going to kill him. And I'm going to teabag him, then I'm going to spray, and then I'm going to switch back to that solo healer, just to send a message. So, I mean, there's definitely a sense about that as well, especially if you have pride on a certain hero, or if you do get labeled as a specialist in that regard, or your opponent gets labeled as a specialist as well, especially for Too Easy. He loves a challenge. He also loves to make sure everyone knows that he is top dog.
So, Mitch, if I play rank, can you not play hit scan in my games? I would enjoy if that didn't happen.
That's fine. That's fine. You don't play Torbjorn, I don't play hit scan, and we were sorted.
I actually do play a lot of Torb. Do play quite a lot of Torb. We are going to be going to Kings Row.
I can hear the sheepishness in your voice, by the way.
He's not proud. He's not proud of his Torb.
I love Torb. I actually play Torb on King of the Hill. No, don't hate me. So now we're going to be going Kings Row next map. Although Hardest played Pharah offense and defense, that was against NIP. That was against Triple Tank, and they didn't have to really worry about hit scan on these opening points. 100% FaZe will have one or if not two hit scan players. Either Too Easy will be on McCree and or Zombs will be on Soldier. Do not think that would be the safe pick coming out of Bonjour to be picking Pharah Mercy. Now, as your point earlier, Mitch, they don't have a Hanzo player. So Hanzo Zarya would actually be a pretty decent choice here. We've seen a lot of teams, such as Rogue, find a lot of success with the Hanzo Zarya combination on Kings Row. They don't have that ability. I kind of expect Bonjour to either go dive comp with Nico. Nico likes playing Genji here. I think Reaper and McCree would probably be the better option but it wouldn't surprise me if they come out with McCree Genji.
Well, we wait for Shadowburn to return from his brief break here. I think ZP's messing with us yet again. I suppose he is bored in production right now. I don't know. All I can do is read chat and hear his giggles in the background, but I'm sure everyone's getting a great show here at the Alienware Monthly Melee EU, presented by Curse. We're just waiting to get into the third map of our lower bracket here. This is a best of 5, now a de facto best of 3, as both teams have won a map. So we're going to be going on to King's Row between FaZe Clan and Bonjour. Winner takes home $2 grand and the right to fight for more in the upper bracket finals, which of course NIP is waiting for the winner up there. And the loser goes home, and in Willy Wonka fashion, they get nothing.
Yeah, so that puts a heck of a lot of emphasis on this particular game, by the way. For some teams, maybe happy sort of bowing out in that sort of third place here. But, you know, sometimes we always discount the third place matches maybe not mattering so much. But definitely here it is going to be an important factor. And yeah, I want to see, you know, if we, especially on the attacking side here from FaZe Clan, what they want to go with. If we are going to see sort of too easy go for that McCree, or maybe, just maybe, a little bit of Widowmaker stuff on attack. I'd like to see some persistence there, because sometimes we see Widowmaker really get rolling on King's Row. Don't freak out, chat. And it can definitely make a big impact there as well. I want to see some creativity. I mean, when you sit here over 2 days and you see now this sort of new meta developing, you know, for better or for worse as it may be, I'd still like to think there's some room for surprises here.
I mean, Logic's played Widow yesterday against FaZe, and it actually went quite well here on King's Row. So I think that would be a pretty decent choice. Bonjour may not have the players to do it. Hardest would probably be the one to go Widow, but even Widow is not a favorite hero of his. So it'd probably have to be Nico of the two, and then you'd limit yourself on here. I don't think it's happening. I think it's like a 1% chance that we go Widow, but I actually am a big believer in Widow being a solid pick. I think it'll come back as we play more.
I Widow on first, especially, I think. All right, so getting memed in lobby chat here, totally fine. As we do roll out, do love this tournament. A little bit lighter. Teams are fun to play with. Lobby's been fun. Thanks Uber for joining us. Thanks ZP for messing with us in chat. Slasher, the only one actually keeping it professional today in a rare case. So it's going to be map 3 between Bonjour and FaZe. Bonjour will be on the offense first. Right now, Hardest is queued up as the Sombra, but we also have a Junkrat, a Hanzo, etc. So this is my quick play comp I don't think we'll see coming out. And I'm almost 100% certain and heartbroken that Forsaken will not be on this Symmetra. She is full-on milk carton status regardless of patch notes.
Yeah, no, having a bit of fun with it, I think, at the moment. I think Shadowburn had a bit of toilet paper attached to the bottom of his foot here. It took a little bit while to lock in that Genji, but inevitably, as some things always must come to pass, it will be that defensive Genji, which is, I think it's pretty interesting. We don't see it that often from many teams. I mean, I actually equate a team called Runaway in Korea quite similarly actually to FaZe, in that they do have that Genji player that does want to play him defensively. Don't see it all that often. Can still have a good impact, but maybe not considered as robust an approach as some others.
I mean, when you have Shadowburn, why not just put him on Genji? Plus allows Forsaken to play Zen, and that combo has worked for them. And Nico is actually going to be on Hanzo. So they actually do have the Hanzo Zarya combo that I think they would have.
Well, triple DPS coming out for the defense in a rare case, but FaZe has been running it all day. Raucus gets slept very early, so they're going to have to retreat just to keep him alive. Vector Fiction, shield cracked immediately thanks in large part to those Hanzo arrows, but too easy. As I mentioned, takes down his opposing number. There goes Super Block as well. Only 4 alive as Shadowburn looks to clean up on the chase, trying to get a few more kills. We'll think better out of it. Takes 3 down in that initial defense. Shadowburn, yeah, pretty good on this Genji hero, I'd say.
I would like to see Hardest play Roadhog here a little bit. I mean, if you're going to play, okay, Nico's going to switch off the Hanzo in general. He didn't get any picks. I mean, if you're going to play the Hanzo, I really think you may as well just take a Roadhog as well. I mean, Roadhog, McCree, you know, potato sometimes. And there's no reason why Hardest can't play that. I mean, anyone can play Roadhog. He's got a hook, for God's sake. Anyway, they're going to push back in though and go back to a little bit more of a standard comp here. The pick was there though. Forsaken gets pulled out of the mob by Nico. But again, into the back line does go Shadowburn, and Zoms takes down Board. Still trades heavily in favor though here of Bonjour. So for whatever reason, they made the switch and it has worked out thus far.
initial pick is absolutely huge. Not only does it take out a source of healing, takes down Discord, everyone can feel a little bit safer. Shadowburn's in here trying to get something done. Somehow still alive, will go down. Hardest to get the better of Too Easy in that engagement too. So 1-2-1 in the Cowboy dueling so far, each with a kill. But right now that is going to be Bonjour taking the first point on their second push. So pretty decent overall pace for them. They're going to have ultimates as we enter the ultimate and street phase of the game. The one question I have though with this composition Bonjour is running is you're running a Zarya, which is all well and good for utility, but they don't really have a combination to work with her Graviton, which is something that can win Streets phase by itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Nico switches off Hanzo and goes towards Roadhog, which is fine, but then we still see the Zarya from Heiko, and, you know, there's no Mei even in the mix here as well. You've got a McCree, so it seems like a little bit of a... Yeah, you could make something happen there. I just don't love it, really, I'll be honest with you. Too Easy finds hardest, though, again. Again, the McCree battle being one out, and a little bit of a wry grin will be on Too Easy's face now. Now, it's going to be an out-of-base for Nico, but he doesn't actually have whole hog here, so not great, considering that your fire rate is kind of average and you get 4 shots before you have to reload, and very little got done with that from board, and that for me, definitely signifies a bit of a weird team comp being played here. He's going to be the recipient without ultimate.
They burned so much there too. Graviton came in and then they followed up with Earth Shatter, but a beautiful sound barrier in response from Raucus kept everyone alive, and that was the switch that meant go, as they then gave Shadowburn the boost and he ulted through there, so he had shields, cleaned up a lot. For the moment Shadowburn switched on to Reaper, thinking better of it, goes back to the Genji, so maybe they thought Reaper was going to be the answer here. They are running 3 tanks, but Shadowburn feeling it right now on the Cyber Ninja.
Yeah, and you can see that up on top, Zoms was there, but he's had to back away and join the rest of his team now. With attack Pfizer over the top here, no one really around to receive it though now, as Zoms has to sort of go towards the ground. He finds hardest at least, but Wholehog's going to force him out of the way and make him a non-factor. And then Too Easy will be finding Nico. It's a very easy target for the McCree to pick off there. Fact Fiction work around the corner. It was a flash thrown by Too Easy, but again, not much gain from that here until Forsaken, and again, Zoms gets back into the fight. He flanked the long way around. He was forced out by the Wholehog, but he came back with a vengeance.
I don't think that McCree is bad against this many tank compositions, especially if your McCree is able to hit headshots like that. If you can just get the focus going and you have a Zenyatta especially, what you saw there is the Wholehog's going on, they keep the shield up in front of it, which is only going to be up there for maybe a second, but then Discord headshot, they take out Nico, completely negate that threat. I think it's harder to do. You need your shot calling and target picking to be on point, but it so far is on point for FaZe, and the combination is working to even crush these tanks.
Oh, Forsaken just charging through on towards hardest there as well. He realized he'd taken enough damage that he could get the clean kill with a dash through. And again, you got to back away. There's absolutely no point fighting. You're going to be wasting time now as well if you're doing that, especially if you're playing this triple tank combo McCree's or any DPS. Hardest needs to respect and recognize the fact that he's the key to this composition actually having decent damage output. If he dies, there's absolutely no point.
Which is one of the reasons that he's getting dived on so hard. They recognize this composition, and they, instead of trying to deal with the tanks, they've decided we're just going to keep Shadowburn on to the Genji so he can go deal with the McCree in the back lines, giving Too Easy some help dealing with that McCree, making sure he wins his duel. So that has been their primary target, and they've gotten to him every single time.
So an attempt to sort of wrap around here from Bonjour is not really making too much progress at all, I think it's safe to say. Hardest dies to Raucus there. They were quite split, and Hardest spawned in a little bit later there. He wasn't with the rest of his team. And that's going to be Heiko now, only getting the 1 kill off the back, and Forsaken with a double, as he often does. Kind of guy that really tends to really fill up the kill feed if you do let him. Minute 43, you're caught in the streets phase, you've got some ultimates to work with, but so does FaZe. You're not loving life right now if you're Bonjour.
No. Minute 43 means, especially this phase of the game, you have 2 pushes, and this next one is going to be their best chance, but they're pushing into a fully loaded FaZe squad with everything. So a lot of it is going to depend on can they hit the grab. What is the follow-up going to be, though? I think the follow-up has to be grab into a boost into probably super block, but he's already got Earth Shatter too, so we'll see what they want to run, but it's going to cost him 3 ults to even sniff a win in this fight.
Yeah, it's not going to be ideal. It's just not an ideal comp. I'm not loving it. But anyway, mutual sound barrier is going to come out. Transcendence over the top here for Forsaken. I mean, very, very hard to put any damage on the side of FaZe right now. And Too Easy, he knew Superflute's shield was cracked enough that he'd get the kill with the Deadeyes that penetrated through. But that was a brilliant bionic grenade, and Nico follows up on it so well. Hardest gets involved with a quick double kill. In fact, Fiction's out of position. That payload's going to get towards the next marker because there's no one there from FaZe to stop it.
Yeah, Shadowburn was alone in the backlines against the Zarya, not exactly where you want to be as a Genji. Factor Fiction finds himself charging in alone again. They will pick up this second point and not a moment too soon. 2 minutes left to try to close out the map.
Yeah, and for this stage, it can either be, honestly, it kind of sounds crap to say, it can either be plenty or not enough here. It really depends on how this next fight goes. no one has ultimates really to work with, and the soonest ultimate's probably going to be a whole hog from Nico, and that doesn't really say too much about how the fight's going to go. So this is interesting. This is new Overwatch for you now. It's going to be a bit more of a ground-out fight without big wombo ultimates that won't be charged up very quickly. Have to see how it plays in.
Well, right now, just the poke battle going on between two teams, trying to crack shields, trying to get anything they can going, making sure that they stay in safe position. Zombs eats a giant Zarya fight, but wow, a big biotic grenade is going to allow Shadowburn to come in here and clean up. Hardest does find an answer to him, though, as they alternate in the kill feed back and forth, but the last couple kills coming in for FaZe, which will allow them to hold 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. As you mentioned, still no ultimates up for either side. We will get them halfway through the next fight, so the manner in which they come, the order in which they come is going to be absolutely crucial, but last push here to finish out the map for Bonjour.
They're going to bring the Diva in here for Heiko now as well. That might even just be for stalling if it's required. Maybe a bit of a thinking ahead or looking ahead from Heiko here. We'll have to see if the pick works out. He can control some high ground. He could deal with Shadowburn, ostensibly, if he had the opportunity. But there's Nico falling for too easy. Couple headshots and a Roadhog, as tanky as he is still going to be dead. That's a devastating Earth Shatter. That's going to be enough to clean up this fight here. And still so many ultimates available for FaZe for the next.
Too Easy has been playing really well on the McCree, and I think a lot of it is their communication looks like it is right on point right now. You're getting Discord, and then you don't even need Discord. I think in those times when there's no ultimates up, when you have a McCree like Too Easy, you can turn it on like that and just double tap people out of nowhere is an invaluable tool. Now all the ults are going to come out. We'll see who ends up winning this Q battle.
Well, Deadeye from Too Easy doesn't really net anything for them at this stage. Again, Sound Barrier comes out though, and there might be one sort of responding here as well. Forsaken comes in with a Transcendence, so that's his answer to the Sound Barrier. Now, Transcendence doesn't do anything for Deadeye, so Fact Fiction did well to keep you sealed up there. Burst damage, doesn't care about your Transcendence, but they pushed him off the payload, good zoning, and Nico didn't quite get there in time. This is not good. 2 points on King's Row. This is the map that Bonjour picked.
Yeah, I mean, good zoning, but you gotta get there. You gotta get there. There wasn't a blizzard or anything necessarily keeping them off the cart 100%, so you just have to have better awareness of how much time you have on the clock, and you have to send someone there. There's no great excuse for that. Probably about as far as they were gonna go, so it didn't cost them too much, but one of those things that can't hurt you, just mentally knowing that someone should have been on that cart. They get it to just about the second bend, onto second point, so that is where they have to stop FaZe if they don't want to go down in this series. As I said, this series best of 5 is tied 1-1.
Well, Bonjour going the triple tank, I think, was probably the right decision to make, considering that FaZe was playing dive comp on defense. But you could see that Nico, not necessarily so accustomed to playing Roadhog as opposed to all the DPS heroes that he was playing. But they should actually feel pretty good. FaZe should have stopped Bonjour at that second point. They used a whole bunch of ults when they shouldn't have. Forsaken used Transcendence early, then they got Zarya ulted, and Bonjour pushed through the third point. So they should actually be feeling maybe a little bit better than what they should have gotten, but it is still going to be very difficult for them to hold this.
You said you're glad they took triple tank there as well. Do you feel like there was compatibility issues with their composition though, having obviously the 3 tanks in the McCree and not much to really combo with the Graviton Surge?
Well, we see how well triple tank is run for NIP and how much impact Roadhog can have. It's either Roadhog has huge impact on the game and can be game-changing for a team considering the picks and getting your own support ults, or it could just feed ults and you don't have a player that's necessarily so comfortable on it, and I think we saw the latter in that case.
Yeah, I think safe to say. The quick switch off Hanzo definitely raised my eyebrows a little bit here, but it is going to be FaZe on the attacking side here as well. Looks like the quintessential dive comp here, Diva thrown in the mix, so yeah, extra dive potential.
Enemy in my sight.
Easy to push in, regardless if I've lost Hex or not, but the charge in Zom's put up against the wall here. Fact Fiction finding hardest there as well. Couple quick kills. This dive comp is working out so damn well. Double for Shadowburn. Nico gets trashed, and now it's going to be super quick up on the point here. It looks like FaZe are well and truly ready to challenge this time.
Even if they don't win it here, which they will, because Too Easy's on the cleanup right there, they would be fine, because those trades were so intense. They were not expecting that kind of aggression coming through Hotel there. Absolutely cleaned up, and Diva is pretty strong. Zoms is going to be full health right now. That's the start they needed, FaZe did, so a pretty solid push for them starting off, and right now it's Too Easy on his Tracer, almost has Pulse Bomb at the ready. Not necessarily a giant combo for it, but if you can just take out one, we've seen how effective a single pick can be, and Pulse Bomb is a great pick ultimate.
And a great way to kick things off there as well if you do have anything to combo with it. But charge going from on towards Super Fluke, sorry, from Fact Fiction. It's going to be the charge in for Shadowburn here as well. And this is his element. This is exactly his bread and butter, and he's cutting it just like that. However, Nico catches him out there, so he does catch some bullets on towards him. And a bit of a messy fight here, back and forth. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Bonjour right now. Self-destruct, his own. Not really going to get any kills from that one, but maybe buying a little bit of a breather here for FaZe in this fight.
They are going to stay in this fight right now. They bring a couple reinforcements in as Factor Fiction dumps in. They also have the sound barrier too, maybe a little bit over-aggressive, but they are making the best of this now. They know that their DPS reinforcements are coming so fast that they never really have to bail out of a fight. They only had 2 alive in there, and they know that their tanks and their DPS can get back in the fight. They never have to quit it. And they're able to turn it around as the DPS reinforce so quickly.
It's interesting, actually, when your defenders, when your attackers are spawning so close to the payload, what a D.Va ultimate can do for you. That extra 3 seconds can actually mean the difference between winning and losing a fight there. And in this case, for FaZe, it was definitely what they needed. Now, Zombs is going to be pulled to his death. Probably not devastated about that, because he's going to be resuited when he does return here. And already FaZe are happy with where they're at so far in this round. If they keep it up at this rate, they're going to win the map.
Yeah, they are going to retreat fully on this, though. I think they were really ambitious that Zombs was going to be able to get the Bunny Blaster damage in that he needed. Rockets going down is really rough for them. Here comes the hook, so now they are getting punished for staying in. They're pushing very far back.
Yeah, Holho committed to that fight there as well. Hardest is going to push them straight on out. And plenty of ultimates actually to sort of be leaning on here for Bonjour now. And of course, they're going to have the Nano Visor combo available to them. And Nico has some high ground opportunities here, or flanking if that's going to be the case. So you actually are feeling pretty good right now. I mean, you're feeling okay. You're not feeling great, of course, if you think about the first half, but this is acceptable for Bonjour. This is going to be what they need. They're going to have to be prudent about the use of these ultimates, though. They need max value now.
Shadowburn is going to come in with the blade. He does get taken down immediately by this attack visor from Nico. This is a full fight, a full hold from Bonjour. They had to use everything they had left to do it, but now they're in a pretty good spot. One of the biggest downsides, I think, of D.Va that people don't necessarily realize is that once you die, you don't really die, and the other team can stagger you so brutally there. I think the Bunny Blaster damage was trying to come in. They will only kill you when they think you're about to get your mech anyway, so that's what really hurt FaZe in that last fight, the fact that Zombs had been desuited and took so long to die. Look where they are now compared to where they had pushed forward, so that is the biggest downside of D.Va. The other team gets control when you respawn when you're going to be effective. There comes the self-destructing again. Doesn't get anything.
Yeah, it creates some space, and it did isolate Super Fluke, though, there as well. His team had to back away from him, otherwise they'd also go the same way. So at least that secures a kill here for FaZe now, so they want to press forward, and Zombs with the double. That's with his suit, by the way. He's getting it done quite nicely. And Shadowburn and Fact Fiction there just to put the finishing touches on what was a very successful fight. Zombs sent his mech skittering forward with his self-destruct and labeled them to at least get Super Fluke out of the picture, and then there were no shields to be hidden behind Bonjour.
Yep, playing a little D.Va skee ball did open that space up for them as they are going to try to take the second. It will be contested, though. They're not going to give this up for free. The Sound Barrier does come off, allowing Shadowburn to get in deep in the back line. Zombs continues his reign of terror on D.Va, taking on Super Fluke. It's 6v4 already.
Yeah, I mean, Pipu died just as he got his ultimate in that fight, and he'd already lost a teammate, so there would have been no chance to really make that one work now, and it will be the checkpoint coming up here comfortably enough. Nico can't do much about it and probably wants to die as soon as possible, and just around the corner is that golden checkpoint. That is all FaZe needs to do to finish this map, and they've got 3 minutes and 18 seconds here. There's really no way that we're going to see Bonjour be able to hold this, although their next fight could be positive for them. They've got a decent old bank to lean on.
It's possible, but as does FaZe. Here comes the zoning ult again from D.Va up over the top. Does end up taking down Pod as she's a little bit slow avoiding damage like that. Shadowburn's going to come in and try to close this out as he does get help from Transcendence early on. They are turning this into quite the scuffle. Nico does take down Shadowburn, though. Some hope still left for this Bonjour team as they are 4 alive on the point. It is back and forth, but the hammer swings are coming through, cleaning it up. Nico, not long for this world. King's Row will go to FaZe.
Yeah, Fact Fiction, a good brace of 3 kills at the end of that fight there. It actually was almost even as a 4v4 situation. I'm almost certain that Too Easy fell off the edge there. So something's knocked him, something's booped him, and he went for a bit of a walk. But it happens to everyone. It happens to everyone. I pointed it out. Slasher saw it, but I do remember casting Slasher, and he had an unfortunate fall in a similar area on Zenyatta as well. So it happens.
Area, actually. Made sure I got kicked off this game. Very appropriate. But really, you know, FaZe needed this win. They played a lot better than on the first map, because if they lost King's Row, they would have to go and Icobalt a map they've been banning out and don't practice well. And then Ilios, although they are a very good King of the Hill team, they just lost 3-0. on Nepal. So they really needed to win King's Row. I expect us to go to Ilios next. I don't think that Bonjour has been playing Eichenwald much anyway, and that'll probably be our final map. Though I could be surprised. I expect us to go to Ilios.
I wouldn't mind to see that here as well. We haven't really seen much of Ilios kind of at all, and opportunities for Farah player as well there. Best to mention that, of course, especially Ruins and we'll see. Yep, Ilios is going to be the call here coming out from Heiko, or GMX as he is known by some. I'm going to call him out there one more time, but again, I mean, I think you're happy with this one. The King of the Hill performance coming out from Bonjour was excellent. Absolutely almost flawless, except for the last stage where they had to fight for a little bit more here. So people are now going to take a break. We are calling out people when they're taking lavatory breaks still, right, Hex? That's still a thing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally. We don't get breaks, so they don't get breaks. We have like sanctioned breaks between matches, you know? Come on. It's just be an adult. Hold it a little bit. Apparently ZP was putting pirate hats on Slasher when he admitted to playing Torb. So thanks for Twitch chat for hooking me up with that image. Pretty solid stuff there. That is quite the pirate hat.
Isn't it great to have ZP free to just do production things now during this period? Meme up the broadcast a little bit more.
I suppose there's positives to it. So we will just wait for Bonjour to be ready. Of course, they are on set point here. If they lose, they are done. That is their tournament life. At Ilios at the Greek Isles will be a come to the end of their tournament. FaZe would earn the right to go up to the upper bracket while they will face NIP. NIP's advantage, we do not do full bracket resets at the Alienware Monthly Melee. They will get a 1-game advantage going into the finals as they never had to get dropped out of the upper bracket. So NIP has been waiting quite a while now for their next target, but one more set after this one, and we will conclude our Alienware EU Monthly Melee, our inaugural edition, presented to you by Curse.
If there's anything to take away from King's Row, I think it was how good D.Va can be. I mean, they ran D.Va with the dive comp, instantly took first point. Maybe it was a little bit harder to go through the streets phase, but if you can get the snowball rolling, it could be such an annoying hero to play against in the current iteration with faster move speed while attacking. You break shield quite often now, and it's actually very good at winning the Reinhardt battle. And then the ult, if you get really good at it, you can kill people from so far away without them really being able to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's good to see that element added back into the dive comps, because for quite some time, actually, I mean, I use Route 66 and Big Earls as a great example. Obviously, the sort of the petrol station near to that first point is that we often saw the Genji and the Winston jump in as a dive comp, and that for me was never solid. It was never a sure thing because there was so many interactions that could make life a lot harder. But when you can add D.Va to that mix there as well, it's a little bit more robust. Yes, obviously, a greater proportion of your team is diving in, but you can back up the oncoming or the responsive damage, especially to your squishy Genji with a defensive matrix, and you can also help focus down those single targets. So I'm glad to see it back here a little bit more. We haven't seen it on Hollywood yet, I guess, because it's such a wide open sight line that a D.Va has to approach, and she doesn't move quite as fast as Winston when airborne, and also her headshot hitbox is bang in the front of her, so it is very easy to damage her a lot. But hey, extra 100 health, extra move speed while firing, and she's back in, and I'm glad to see it.
I tend to agree, and that defense matrix used properly is just so much better than Winston's shield, which is just such a small little bubble. We used to see it a lot of Numbani too, and I think her on Numbani, if we ever go to Numbani, we will see her yet again, maybe against a Torb, which was always very popular for a bit, that Torb would be there, and then you'd run a D.Va onto it, a D.Va and a Winston, but D.Va Winston dive on Numbani was still a thing even when neither hero was super strong, because working well together and taking away that high ground on Numbani was just that ultra important. She's also really good because not only can she take high ground, she can get you off of high ground. Let's not forget how strong her mech is at just booping people off and really changing positioning too. So I do think we are entering another D.Va era. We'll see. I don't know if necessarily we'll see her on King of the Hill, but I've been surprised by a lot during this tournament. We'll just wait to see when they're ready to get back here. But Ilios, here goes. Slasher's going to be blinded. Do you need to put sunglasses on, Slasher?
You know what? Yes. Yes, I will. I'm going to go.
Maybe ZP can just add them to your picture.
Make it happen. If there was ever time to play Roadhog, I think this would be it. Very good Roadhog map, especially on well. Maybe we'll see it out of 2EZ. We saw Hardest on it a little bit. Didn't seem so comfortable. Maybe Nico, but I kind of feel like they might run he was probably, I think double hit scan is still the thing that Bonjour should be doing. They won Nepal 3-0. Why not go with what has been working and continue that?
I mean, and Ilios is a map, I guess, across the different stages. We can actually see a myriad of different approaches. We might even sort of see McCree still be a factor here, as it was sort of popping up a little bit on Lijiang Tower as sort of a response to the tank-heavy compositions and some of the DPS combinations we saw. And I mean, McCree on maps, of course, like Ruins and Well, a lot of the fighting happens at his optimal range. So it's not terrible to sort of go for that one. But again, Soldier 76 also is optimal at that range. And if McCree can't use his flashbang, it's maybe not the better choice here. Maybe now, McCree versus Soldier 76. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Raucus and Shadowburn have played Farah Mercy in matches in the last few weeks, including against Cloud9 on Ilios. It hasn't been the greatest pick. Probably not anymore, considering the double hit scan potential coming out of Bonjour, but it is a possibility. Doesn't seem like it will, though.
Well, this is a map that even for Ilios standards, this stage in particular has seen a wide variety of different heroes and things. The very first time I saw this map, it was Genji versus Widow on both sides of things. Widow is a really good pick on this map. Now, any King of the Hill map we will see Widow on, we would very likely see it here. Zoms did toy with it briefly, but he's actually going to go to the D.Va, so he is definitely feeling D.Va right now. Other than that, double hit scan on the side of FaZe, where they're just running single hit scan, triple tank on the side of Bonjour.
Okay, so we actually are going to have a McCree in play here against the potential threat of the Soldier 76, and I'm interested to see if that makes Too Easy play a little bit more conservatively here as well, especially over the open area. So far, it definitely seems to be the case, as he wants to work on that far side over near the edge, or the ledge, whichever one you prefer. And the D.Va, Zoms, gets on the point, actually just sort of being ushered back by his team, saying, hey, you've got healing, keep going. But again, he will have to give up a little bit of ground here. But a Reinhardt shield also in effect, and with Super Plukes out of the picture, I don't really think there's much that Bonjour can do to start a fight here.
Not at all. D.Va's also pretty decent against other tanks, too. You saw her very early on taking down Roadhog, and yes, you can get hooked and killed, but there's a lot of damage coming out from the other side of that, and she's so good with the defense matrix. Zoms with a triple kill opening up this King of the Hill on the D.Va, so that is a full cleanup there for FaZe as they take the first half of that. It'll be interesting to see, actually, if and when Zoms chooses to use his ultimate, because it's decent. Yes, you can zone, but I feel like he should be better in the suit. We'll see if he just finds the right chance, maybe just bowls it through there, maybe he sends it straight to the sky and hopes to land it on some people.
Yeah, I think sending it straight, like, vertically up, actually, from the middle of the point is quite a strong play to make, because obviously the radius is quite extensive, and it's not that easy to avoid that one with the ramps, and they're not really breaking line of sight. So Zoms goes in, self-destruct, everyone turning tail here. Not where you want to really use that, though. I mean, straight in front of that sort of block that blocks line of sight. But again, you can zone away with this.
Well, he got hooked and was about to die, so he tried to use it. But now in super aggressive position, does get hooked yet again, and it gets desuited as Nico comes in with his ultimate, able to take down 2. That is 4 kills total. Shadowburn does respond with his own ultimate, but maybe a little bit misplaced there, thinking they could bring it back. They could not, and they were going to get fully cleaned up, and now they're not going to have the ultimate that I think they would like there. At some point, you just got outdrawn. Nico just popped his first. That's just something that you have to deal with, and you lost. Popping it in response got them nothing except less ultimates.
Yeah, and the fact is, Fact Fiction was dead, and Super Pluke had his shield straight up there, so limit your options as Soldier 76 has already popped that ultimate. It doesn't really work for you now. So the flip back in favor of Bonjour, 22% now, and they are forcing back at the front door, trying to make sure that they can't sneak through, but Shadowburn's already gotten to the backside, and Hardest falls. Zoms is going to break a Reinhardt shield very quickly up that close, and with the extra damage of Shadowburn there as well, Super Pluke was very quickly encircled. And now, maybe an overextension here. We'll have to see. Heiko's happy about something. Shadowburn's picked him up as well. And Board's going to drop on towards the point. Sleep Dart just maybe to add some sort of insult there, but it won't be enough. Back over to FaZe.
Well, Ruckus is the one that got them in position they needed to do. They slept the Roadhog on the right side, and that was when Shadowburn just ran right past him. I can imagine that he just saw a soldier running over his head. They were able to get in a better position on the right side. Ruckus hit yet another Sleep Dart to close out that match, too. So great play by the Ana player for FaZe.
Now Ultimate's coming into play here as well. The Deadeye's going to be there for Too Easy. I'll be surprised if he gets much value out of this one. A Shadowburn just gets mashed there as well. Straight over the top comes Hardest with the whole hog, trying to find those targets caught out. He got one, and Fact Fiction going down to Heiko is definitely a very good sign for Bonjour. This is a much more competitive iteration of the King of the Hill map that we saw previously here, and it might have something to do with the D.Va here, as Zoms has been a standout, but he will be forced off the point and taken down. A Deadeye from Too Easy gets 2 kills, still both supports. He can keep going. Super Quick falls, and he has done this almost on his own. I won't say entirely, but that was freaky.
Supports were doing great there. I think Forsaken may have just unplugged his keyboard. He didn't move for a while. He was just sitting in the corner right there, healing everyone as Lucio, and no one saw him. He just crouched in the corner, kept everyone alive, kept them from getting the point, and too easy went to town on his Cowboy. Nice round there for FaZe. They're 2 stages away from going to the upper bracket to take on Ninjas in Pajamas.
Well, I said Roadhog would be good here, but if you're going up against D.Va, then I think Harden should be switching off. I mean, yes, he got maybe a pull or 2 on his Zoms after Zoms was overextending too much, but it's not the best decision to be making. Hard is still on Roadhog. Do not think this is the right move to make.
I mean, and I've also found in situations as well, when I've seen Divas and Roadhogs go head-to-head, there have been scenarios where Diva's actually been able to out-damage Roadhog if he's not using his abilities properly. Up close, you can completely shred him down, and if he doesn't have a hook, or if he, for whatever reason, gone for a melee attack or something similar like that, he actually can't output enough damage to sort of exceed that. So rare that you would sort of see a counter in that form, as Roadhog is kind of the anti-tank, but Zoms can do it on Diva.
The only tank that really gives D.Va trouble, and even if that might not be the right term, is Reinhardt, because she's able to just out-damage most of the other tanks at close range and then negate a lot of the other damage coming into her too. So right now, Factor Fiction Zom's too easy. Getting too much work done to even really call that action. That is an extremely quick first fight. FaZe, they are feeling it right now. They just wrecked the point.
And that's big for Fact Fiction as well. You can see he's got significantly more of that ultimate charged up there. So that hammer was definitely ringing quite clear. And even Zoms as well. He went around the backside. The mobility that Diva gives you in a pinch is ridiculous. It's such a low cooldown that you can access so many parts of the fight that other tanks just cannot. That's a big difference. Zoms up on the high ground now as well. Thought for trying to go for Heiko, but he catches off Nico. Nico, he had a biotic field down and he still got completely shredded.
Yeah, and Zom's gonna get out. He gets slept on his way out. They might just kind of sit around him, try to keep him alive. He got fire grenaded, slept, and hooked. Look at all the resources they're devoting to just try to deal with Zoms, and he's still not completely dead.
I mean, and Slasher foreshadowed this yesterday as well, saying that she is literally busted right now. And we didn't actually see it much at all, but today people have, you know, been doing a bit of homework. Maybe some notes have been taken and some decisions have been made to see her come in here, and it's worked out quite nicely. Now, Fact Fiction will probably want to hold this Earth Shadow as long as he can, because Super could come in with a shield up there. He lacks teammates. Deadeye going to come in from the backside here from too easy, but he lacks the angle there. He's actually been forced to drop down and cancel because he couldn't see anything.
Well, they're going to use the ultimate on the point. They're going to use a lot of ultimates on the point, so they will win this fight. They did throw a lot at that, though, to make sure that they kept control of the point here on Ilios, looking to take the second stage. Zom's going to have his ultimate up, and really, they're still in an ultimate decent position as Hardest is switching off onto the Tracer. They're switching everything up. Nico is going to be on Genji, Hardest on the Tracer. Tracer, oddly enough, a decent counter to D.Va just because of how big the hitbox is on her head, and you can kind of jump in and out, not take damage from her. We'll see if it ends up working out.
Yeah, and circumventing the defensive matrix is important as well, being able to dash around the side. But that's a self-destruct coming in. Hard is careful. He manages just... No, he doesn't get out of the way. I think he thought he was home and hosed, but he got smashed by the self-destruct. And Fact Fiction again, he's at the center of attention and at the center of a mass of broken bodies there. 2-3 kills for him in that fight. And again, another Earth Shatter just around the corner, but it won't matter. This is done. We're 2 rounds down and FaZe are looking dominant. Complete switch from what we saw earlier on in that first King of the Hill outing.
Well, Harvest went off Roadhog, but it was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
And dive comp was not, I don't know if it's necessarily the answer here. Didn't seem to work so well at the end. I think Bonjour is a little bit lost right now.
Well, I don't want to say it's all been... hold on a second.
Give it a pause, mate. What don't you want to say?
That it's all been Zoms, but it's kind of all been Zoms. It's not necessarily that he's getting all of these kills on the D.Va, but you saw they had to just put everything they had into getting rid of the D.Va. The hook goes on cooldown. Some abilities go on cooldown. They're just spending so much resources and time dealing with the D.Va that you're laser focused on that, and from the sides and from everywhere else, you're getting wrecked by the remainder of the team. This D.Va switch has been a nightmare for them.
I told you. Believe in the D.Va. Believe in the D.Va.
I did not disagree with you yesterday. I remember her first buff where I almost uninstalled Overwatch because I was just tired of D.Va. So I firmly believe you were correct in that, sir.
I mean, I'm seeing it as well. A lot of pro players have raised their voice about just how much she is forcing them to play around her as well. And that's me being diplomatic about it, as you can imagine. But yeah, she's very, very strong right now. And the fact of the matter is, FaZe have adopted this quicker than Bonjour. They have that in their arsenal. Bonjour don't want to go back to it after we saw a brief outing of it on King's Row, and that's going to be their fault. That's going to be their falling, and that's going to be their failing as well. They can't bring that out here.
I mean, I think that there's a couple decent answers to D.Va, not perfect answers, but I think Tracer is okay. What do you think about putting a Reaper in here, too? I mean, they've not really shown Bonjour that they have a great or solid Reaper player. As we said, Nika will play it, but he doesn't like it. Is that an answer to it? I mean, Slasher, you brought up the fact that D.Va's broken and busted. What is your best answer to it, though?
Really, the answer is that there's nothing. Like, Defense Matrix beats Hitscan. Defense Matrix beats out Reaper. Defense Matrix beats out Divecom. Really, the issue is you play around D.Va, you go on the supports, you try to not let D.Va get in your face. I think Reaper is probably a decent option in terms of Reaper has to count the seconds on Defense Matrix and then go in and kill D.Va. But right now, D.Va is really powerful all around, and her ability to fly out of tough fights and give your supports ult, especially Ana, is a big deal right now. I think actually Tracer is actually not a bad option because you can do shots on D.Va without having to deal too much with the Defense Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, you can, to a degree, you can circumvent it purely because D.Va has a turning circle, essentially, or she still needs to deal with other threats. So, I mean, it's fine. Defense Matrix obviously covers D.Va's headshot hit spot. You can't headshot her, I think, easily at all with her Defense Matrix up, or at all, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's fine. I kind of like Tracer against a lot of tanks there. I think she's also okay against Roadhog if you can sort of play around the hook and play outside the range until it's been used. But we're back. The pause is done. And yeah, do Bonjour make a switch here? Do they make a change? Nico on the Genji, I mean, while I know it's one of his go-to picks, I don't necessarily know if it's the answer.
I don't think it's too bad. I really think this composition can work against the D.Va. It is going to be a problem that they have to solve. But as I mentioned, I think Tracer's okay against it. I think Genji can be good against it with his dash through, things like that. And running 2 beam tanks is definitely the way to do it as well. And even though Winston doesn't have high damage, he can control area and maybe make D.Va's life a little bit more difficult. But she also can murder him pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. The Heiko's Eye here is quite good, and that does cut down the options for Zoms to protect him and his team from the incoming damage. Good sleep down towards Zoms. He's well ahead of the rest of his team here, but Forsaken just trying to boot people away and keep that D.Va alive. It seems as if Zoms was ignored for the most part here, but 2Easy's already found harder, so that might be the issue here for Bonjour right now. It's traded back, but 2Easy has a good vantage point here to get damage done, and with Super Quick falling and Shadowburn up on high, it's a solid start for FaZe.
I don't know how they just brought that back there. They were in a little bit of different position, but Shadowburn and Factor Fiction got it out, win their duels right there, able to take control of this first point. I've always said at this stage in particular, taking the first capture is so huge, because look at the enormity of the area of this point. It gets so hard to fully wipe a team off of here to be able to flip it back that the first fight means so much more than a lot of other stages.
Yeah, you've got a big gap to cross, and if you're on foot, then you've got to walk around the long way. You're forced to play at mid-range. And not all heroes work. Zoms
overestimated his jump jets there. Ends up falling into the hole. Not great. There goes Clock, though. Forsaken able to finish him off after the bio grenade. So, like I said, they may win this fight a little bit, but it's going to be hard to completely wipe them off of the point, as that is Forsaken dancing around. Oh, dancing a little too fancy. Gets off the point, allows them to flip it over. I thought they had enough presence here to at least be able to delay that. Not the case, as Hardest takes on 2Easy, and that is Bonjour showing up, flipping the point over.
Yeah, now they're trickling in towards this point until they get proper respawns in, so that also might be an issue now, and they're going to give a bit of free percentage over. Not what you want, not ideal if momentum is sort of the aim of your game here, but with Shadowburn now constantly working flanking angles and vantage points that aren't easily accessible by his opponents, he's able to put out a lot of damage here. Super Quick forced to Forsaken now as well. Zom's coming forward, wants to get on towards Pipu now. He's going to try and avoid people by jumping into the well, but it doesn't really work out, and he does fall to his death.
Well, full ultimates up for nearly both teams, a rare sight in current Overwatch right now, as both teams have just saved up their banks. It is FaZe at 40%. If they win the next 2-3 fights, they will be moving up to the upper side of the bracket. However, Bonjour does have a lot of options available to them. They are nearly at a full bank of ults as well. Can they get the here? You do have to start being careful with D.Va when you're throwing ults around, though. She can eat ultimates.
It's going to be a Nano Blade coming out from Nico here as well. Sound barriers for both teams, and Nico already finds too easy, but may just be enough in this case. The Ana Viana battle is won by Raucus. In fact, Fiction is lucky not to have fallen into the well there, as Super Pluke had Primal Rage, was hoping to throw him down there, but Lassie was not required this time, and now Fact Fiction charge in, does get Fluke with the pin, and Heiko actually going to fall here. Forsaken and Fact Fiction, with a bit of an honourable mention from Zoms there, really pulled that fight back out for FaZe, and it's 75% on the clock.
Factor Fiction running some sort of Reinhardt cloaking device because they just completely ignored him, walked right into that Earth Shadow that he got on the flank, able to clean up the remaining tanks there as well. So Factor Fiction continues to have himself a pretty decent series. Now this Graviton's going to be their last best hope to stay in this tournament right now. Heiko has to hit it. He has to be careful of Zoms, but that's their best bet. They have to wait for 2 easies, Deadeye to come down, but hey, no, Heiko trying to get in a good flanking position is on the right side here, trying to get a giant Graviton. They have to be careful.
Yeah, we need the big bang here as well. That's Hardest going to let the pulse bomb go, gets himself free. That's exactly what was required. It had to be done now, and it was executed correctly. So, I mean, Fact Fiction and Raucus hoping to try and inflict something here, but it's unlikely they'll get too much. It's pretty hard to recover from the shock and awe that is the big bang combo, and the point goes back over towards Bonjour.
And they staggered out the late 2 tanks pretty quickly there too, but they have to win every remaining fight on this stage to stay alive in this tournament. They do have to go against a couple of ultimates. The next one that is going to have to hit home for Bonjour is going to be the Nano Blade coming out. They cannot afford to lose any more fights. Here comes a giant zoning Diva ult. Does not get anything done, but allows some entry onto the point.
Yeah, Nico opening up on too easy yet again there as well. He's doing very, very good at pinpointing and taking him out. Even with Forsaken, that's just a bonus for Nico to pick him up as well. So no Lucio available right now for FaZe. Zoms is sleeping as well, not really doing much at all. He'll be sleeping with the Fishes in a few moments now as he's lacking teammates. He'll be desuited. Shadowburn's there as well, finding Nico as the bubble just came down, but he's going to have to walk back here. He can just walk away. He doesn't have to go in and die or anything like that, but too easy returning now to a Primal Rage Winston. Not really the reception you're hoping for.
No, just trying to create some space to let the rest of Bonjour come in here. They won the first 2 fights. They've clutched out everything they've had to. Heiko and Winston have been great on dealing with Zoms here right now. Shadowburn is going to get boosted. They wake him up on accident. That is a huge mistake from Superblanc, who jumped over the top. They had Shadowburn dead to rights. He comes in, still gets a lot of damage, is taken out very late by Pipu, but that was a ultimate that was completely shut down and just miscoordination. They woke him up with a jumping monkey, and that might cost them the match.
He may have thrown things away there. Nico gets picked up as well there. Nicely done. Good position, but too easy to find him early, and he gets on towards Super Quick too. Board goes off the edge somewhere. Not really sure how, and a Deadeye now as well. This will keep people off the point for a moment. Hardest now going to blink back on, straight down the well though. Waits. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but we're just going to go along with that one there as well. I'm not one to point that out. Yes, I am. That's a lie. Graviton missing. I point those out. Not ideal at all. Heiko needed to hit that in a meaningful manner, but he didn't even have teammates to follow it up anyway. A bit of a pandemonium here, a comedy of errors, and so far, that's it. It's going to be done. FaZe are finally going to take the series, and it was a bit of a bumpy one at a few points, but the last 3 maps, definitely a big improvement.
Fitting end to that series, I think. Tracer falling to the well, then Mount getting off sound barrier, Nico dying during the Genji ult animation. Couldn't have gone any worse, Bonjour there. But you know what? They finish above Misfits in this tournament. They're able to beat FaZe in the winner's bracket. I think they had a remarkable playing performance.
For a kind of newly retooled roster, for a roster maybe not a lot of people are familiar with, for some players that not everyone is super familiar with, for guys coming off the ladder, joining the competitive scene for the first time in Super, I think they had a great tournament, and they should be pretty happy with the results, regardless of going out in 3rd place.
Yeah, obviously, you know, not going to be taking any of the winnings away here, but and this is a team, although they have a Shive wearing a beret as their logo, obviously their approach to the game is quite professional. They have been taking it seriously for quite some time, and I hope they get picked up by a sponsor in the near future, because they're that team that is testing the boundary, you know, that gate that is sometimes not so well being kept between Tier 2 and Tier 1, and some could argue that they're right up there. I want to see more from Bonjour. Hopefully we do. Maybe you should go to the BYOC competition at DreamHack, boys. Just saying, but that would be nice to see. Again, FaZe, well deserved to advance here. But NIP have looked pretty indomitable so far, gentlemen.
I'm going to show a little bit for them. They are looking for sponsors. I know that they were going to be sending out sponsor decks after this tournament. So anyone interested, hit up K3, who is kind of the team captain over there.
Right, well, now we've got that one out of the way. Let's go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to return with our grand final. It's going to be Ninjas in Pajamas going up against FaZe Clan, the one to decide it all here at the Alienware Monthly Melee We'll see you soon.